What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to talk to you about Polestar. I want to go over some of the current data points, go over the breaking news that just came out, and go over everything else that you need to know. But first, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So Polestar did go down 5.22% today after hours, kind of extending that a little bit, so down 1.83%. So when it comes down to Polestar, like I said, I haven't really put out that much in videos from it, but I've been kind of keeping up with it. And so basically April the 30th, they did submit this saying that their 20F is going to be delayed. So very unfortunate, and this is going to be filed before May the 14th. That's going to come into a little bit more relevance based on the news that they just put out, but this 20F being delayed, it's a real shocker, right? Because technically it's not like they've done this before many times. So if I was a NASDAQ regulator, I feel like I'd be really starting to look a little bit more closely at Polestar. But with the breaking news that just came out, it kind of goes to show that the whole company itself is just massively mismanaged. So Polestar North America chief exits EV maker after 10 months in the role. And so I remember this because I did a video about this, because Polestar was finally starting to build some pretty good traction. And then you had this individual that did come in and just derailed it like no other. So it's kind of funny, just does all the damage and then just takes a step back. Very comical if you ask me, but nonetheless though, this is pretty much Polestar's history. Is just management has really been screwing it up, and I've been covering them for a while now, and honestly they did have a lot of good potential, but management just dropped the ball. They assumed way too much in the market, and then now once they do finally start to build traction for a second time, you have tariffs come, and tariffs I think is really putting a dampen on Polestar. So I think at the end of the day, the biggest catalyst for Polestar is a deal between the states and the EU for kind of a tariff deal. So that should be coming most likely in the next couple of weeks from the estimates I've seen, but still nonetheless though, it's not really good for Polestar, because I think Polestar is kind of losing its competitive advantage. Polestar luckily way back in like 2022 was seen as key, was huge, right? Because them and essentially Tesla were the only pure global EV plays, but more and more companies are expanding at very fast rates, and they are going to take market share from Polestar, which seems to be all over the place. So I think it's just a very unfortunate type of scenario, and even after hours with it going down is kind of interesting because they put out news at 4:30, so just roughly about 20 minutes ago, and that was this right here. So Polestar is going to be submitting their Q1 earnings and having a conference on May the 12th. So this is interesting timing, as I said, because the date of their annual earnings that they're going to be submitting is May the 14th after this call. So again, they can kind of address this, hype up the market, and then obviously submit their annual and cause the stock price probably to go down. So it's just very strategic on their part, but I think all in all it is not good and won't be good for Polestar at whatsoever. So with their earnings, I'll give you a quick overview of that. So anticipated volatility it doesn't actually even show based on the options, which is kind of interesting. So most likely, at least looking back, the implied move, the volatility is kind of low end of 19, high end of 33. So anticipate probably somewhere in the middle, so like a 20% move from their earnings. So again, kind of an interesting type of scenario. I see a lot of people online saying that Polestar is getting manipulated. I feel like possibly that argument could have been made in 2022, 2023, but as of right now, like shorts right now is 10.94%. That is not significant enough to really say that is being manipulated. Today did increase, shorts increased 2.07 million shares, 41.85 million shares. That's what it overall works out to be. So like I said, I think just shorts have been lingering around for a while now because they do see and sense blood in Polestar, but I think it's not really fair to say that Polestar is down because of management. It's just a lot of, and for a while now, geopolitical issues have been Polestar's biggest enemy, right? So Polestar just was trying to expand, and then you have just Trump coming in, that's not helping anyone. Polestar really pivoting their obviously financials and their business, which causes huge costs increases. So Polestar, I feel like I said, it's just had a lot of good expectations on it, but even based on the options, you can kind of see nobody's caring about it. Like, you have 5,400 in calls, $314 in puts. That is it. And of this dismal amount of options, 88% is bearish. So nobody is really looking at Polestar as a long-term investment. In fact, the 𝗖𝗢𝗡𝗘𝗧 score technically is negative, so that does insinuate that there is bankruptcy kind of coming. But even to reconfirm that, looking here, so transactions on the secondary market and dark pool shows that big money is not paying attention to Polestar whatsoever. If you are looking at trading it though, for whatever reason, with it closing at 109, it is trading exactly on this R1. So 109 was going to be a key pivot. You have 99 cents going to be that next strong support, 114 going to be the next strong target. So all in all, I feel like given the low volume, you could see continued volatility, but the writing's on the wall with Polestar that this stock is not a buy, and it needs to just kind of, people just need to either take the L on it or whatever else. It's just not a good type of scenario. Even on the actual chart, like, there's no real point in analyzing it. Like, it has recovered a little bit with the broader market with the recent lows of like 85 cents, but everything went up during this time frame, regardless of kind of the business model and stuff. So as of right now, like I said, I think Polestar is one of those ones that needs to be just swung trade, but as a long-term investment, the writing's on the wall, most definitely, and it's very apparent based on this. So let me know your thoughts on Polestar. Do you think I'm being too critical on it? Do you think it is time to buy? What's your general thoughts on that? And when it comes down to this upcoming earnings, or let alone even their annual for 2024, do you think that that is going to be there's going to be some positives in it, or what's your kind of viewpoint? Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And then one final thing, if you are looking for some good buy signals, pop over to my Patreon and get buy signals on stocks, options, crypto, many of which have been absolutely on point. So definitely worthwhile to pop over there to take a look. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.